The sound of sirens wailed in the distance as Marco crouched behind the graffiti-covered wall, his heart pounding in rhythm with the chaos around him. He peered cautiously around the corner of the crumbling brick facade, trying to make sense of the scene unfolding in the alleyway. Shadows loomed large, voices clashed, and adrenaline coursed through him. This was it, the moment that would change everything. But how had it come to this? Days earlier, to anyone who knew him, Marco was just a quiet kid from Brooklyn. At 12, he spent most of his time sketching in his notebook or playing basketball at the local playground. Their laughter echoed through the air, layered over the constant chatter of vendors selling hot dogs and pretzels down the street. Life was far from perfect, but Marco found solace in the vibrant neighborhood, where friends gathered near the brownstones and the community pulse thrummed like music. However, hidden beneath the laughter were tensions that often erupted into drama, and Marco felt it brewing around him. One afternoon, while shooting hoops with his best friend, Danny, he overheard two older boys, Jamal and Vincent, arguing. Their voices spilled over the sounds of the game like thunder in the distance. "You can't just claim this block, man," Jamal shouted, arms crossed defiantly. "We've been balling here for years." Vincent's smirk was cold. "This is our turf now. You either step back, or we'll make you." Marco felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He didn't want to get involved in the rivalry, but he knew the consequences could ripple through the neighborhood, affecting everyone. Yet he also felt a flicker of hope. Maybe he could mediate things with his art. "So what if we all played a big game?" Marco called out, his voice shaky. "A tournament. Winner takes the block. Let's show we can work together instead of fighting." The two boys paused, their brows furrowing in confusion. Jamal glanced at Marco, then back at Vincent. They had both heard of the kid who sketched murals around the park, but they had never paid him much mind. "You really think you can just stop us from fighting with basketball?" Vincent said, sneering. But Marco pressed on. "It could be fun. We could even paint a mural afterward to celebrate. What do you say?" The idea hung in the air, a fragile thread binding them together. Jamal nodded slowly, his competitive spirit awakening. "I'm in. But if we lose, you're painting our names in the mural. No hiding it." Vincent smirked again, expanding the challenge. "Fine. But if we win, it's our turf." As the two sides agreed, Marco felt a surge of adrenaline. Perhaps he had turned the tides, buying time before the conflict escalated further. Back in the alleyway, now crouched behind the wall, Marco could hear the stakes escalating, voices rising. He had gathered both sides for the showdown, and after a tense game that felt like the weight of Brooklyn rested on his shoulders, the final score rested all on him. Now, with emotions running high and adrenaline surging, the intensity erupted in a flash of anger. Suddenly, a shove pushed through the crowd, and Marco realized he had to act. Stepping out from behind the wall, he called loudly, "Stop! You all agreed to play a game, not turn this into a fight." His voice cut through the noise, catching the attention of the boys. They turned toward him, confusion momentarily replacing anger. Marco took a deep breath, steeling his nerves. "This is what dissension looks like in our neighborhood. It only hurts us all. We fought hard on the court, now let's ensure we can still be friends off it." There was a moment of silence, the tension hanging heavy in the air like smoke. Looking into the faces filled with uncertainty, Marco felt empowered. "Remember the mural? What do you want Brooklyn to see? What do you want people to remember?" He gestured to the walls surrounding them, once again framing the conversation between them all. As Marco's words sank in, Jamal stepped forward, a reconciliatory hand raised toward Vincent. "Let's put it behind us," he said, voice steady. Vincent hesitated, then nodded, a grudging respect crossing his features. "Yeah, it's dumb to keep fighting over this. Let's make something together." With each acknowledgement, the shadows receded and the groups began to disperse, tension replaced by camaraderie. That day, Marco not only averted disaster, but also helped plant the seeds of unity in his community, beginning with hope and art. Brooklyn had its challenges, but Marco learned that even within the chaos, resilience and creativity could weave a stronger bond, one that sparked light in the darkest places.